This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1853. 5 critical questions you need to ask yourself before creating a budget, by Kumiko of thebudgetmom.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Now let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. 5 critical questions you need to ask yourself before creating a budget, by Kumiko of thebudgetmom.com. Here's a truth about budgeting that a lot of people choose to ignore. Creating a budget simply to create one gives you the appearance that you have your financial life in order. But the hard truth is, if your budget doesn't make sense to you, you'll never use it. You'll be surprised how many people make a budget purely for the quick satisfaction of just having something written down. It doesn't matter if the budget template they're using applies to their life or if the numbers are even accurate. The idea of having a budget trumps reality. Before sitting down to create a budget, it's important to answer a few questions first. Not only will it help with the creation of your budget, but it will ultimately give you the motivation for sticking to it. Here are 5 critical questions you should ask yourself before creating a budget. Number 1, what goals do you have? Ultimately, your money is your money. As long as your monthly expenses are taken care of and you have more money coming in than going out, you're off to a good start. But take it a step further than that. Think long-term rather than short-term. Setting and having a budget isn't something that can just come and go as needed. The point of a budget is to help you stay on track, to help you with an end goal. Think long and hard about what your end goal is with your budget. Keep in mind that your budget should be something obtainable and realistic for you. Don't set a huge, lofty goal right out of the gate that may cause you frustration. Make sure to create baby steps along the way to reach your ultimate savings goal. Number 2, what are your have-to expenses every month? This can be the hard part, but you have to take a look at your current expenses that are a must to pay. Write down all your loans, your bills, anything that you owe. Take a good look at those expenses. Then write down an estimate of your variable expenses every month as well. These can include your utilities, groceries, and things like that. Variable expenses are bills you know you have to pay, but they can vary a bit. Once you have all those added together, you know that combined, those are your responsibilities every month. Your must-pay without a doubt expenses. These are key to creating a budget because these figures are factored in monthly to know then what is left over for use or saving. Number 3, is everyone else on board with your budget? If you have a family, it's crucial that the family is also aware and on board with the budget. You can't have a split house on this one and expect your budget to last long term. The key to making your budget work is to communicate with the other members of your household. Explain the situation, let them understand the importance of having a budget, and ask them for their help and support in sticking to that budget. You can't expect someone to truly accept a budget or a plan if they don't know the end goal as well, right? Communication is key. Number 4, how often will you review your budget? Life happens and our situations can change quickly. If your income changes, if your expenses suddenly vary, then your budget needs to be reviewed and possibly changed. Allow yourself that flexibility. Try not to make it a habit to alter your budget unless circumstances outside of your control give you reason to make changes. But if that's the case, just trust that it can be done. And number 5, what happens if your budget fails? Understand that we all fail. You aren't alone in this thought. If your budget happens to stumble one month, make a mental note and get back on track as quickly as possible. Don't lose track of your end goal because of a few little hiccups here and there. You know that budgeting takes work, and with work comes highs and lows that accompany it. Take a deep breath and focus on the fact that you had more highs than lows during your budgeting journey and focus on the wins. Then dust yourself off and get back on your budget track. Tomorrow is a new day to start again. Creating a budget is a great way to keep you and your family on track towards financial freedom. By asking yourself the questions previously mentioned, it can give you a good outline of things to think about when preparing to create or alter your current budget. Allow yourself the ability to set a budget that works for your household and be positive about implementing that budget. You just listened to the post titled 5 Critical Questions You Need to Ask Yourself Before Creating a Budget by Kumiko of thebudgetmom.com. I think the exercise of budgeting has some similarities to the volatility of the stock market. If you expect that the stock market will rise and fall, you're less likely to panic sell when it inevitably falls. Similarly with budgeting, if you expect that your spending won't perfectly align with your budget, especially when you're getting started, then perhaps you won't give up so easily. When I figured it out for myself, I had a number of people ask me to help them with their budget, and I wholeheartedly agreed on one condition. I would help anyone with their budget, but they first needed to track all of their spending for 3 months. Are you surprised that no one took me up on my offer? A good budget needs good data. And if you're not tracking your spending, you're just taking a shot in the dark on what a realistic budget even is. Your budget also needs to be flexible. You're going to realize at some point that your plan was unrealistic. The solution is not to give up on the plan. The solution is to adjust the plan and continue working it until it works. I'm a huge fan of budgeting because for me, it's all about awareness. It's all about telling your money where to go versus wondering where it went. It's a tool for paying attention. And there are many different styles of budgeting. You could go for a zero-based budget where you give every dollar a job before it even hits your bank account and then you check in regularly to make sure it's doing its job. Or you could opt for an anti-budget where you just focus on paying yourself first and not worry about the rest. If the anti-budget appeals to you, check out a speech from the Economy Conference by Paula Pant. It's called How to Never Again Say I Can't Afford It, and it's available now on the Economy Conference YouTube channel. And that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Thursday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.